Welcome to the Difference Makers. Today's topic is all about transforming the lives of people on Chicago's West Side, bringing a new vision to life through the Aspire Center initiative. It's a model we all can learn from. What does it take to engage a community? How do you bring about change? And how do you empower people to recognize their potential? You'll discover the answer to those questions in just a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Difference Makers. I'm Lynn Sanders, your host, and I am so excited that you're here today. You're going to hear from two special guests, two visionaries who are both transforming lives. Our first guest is Mrs. Jacqueline Reed, the founder of Westside Health Authority and the pastor at every block of Village Church. Our second guest is Morris Reed, the CEO of Westside Health Authority and the force behind the Aspire Center. We're going to first hear from Mrs. Reed and learn more about her background and how she became a visionary leader to transform the community. Thanks so much, Mrs. Reed, for coming here. Mrs. Reed, can you tell us your story? What led you to Chicago from Mississippi?
Well, I came to Chicago because my husband is from Chicago. I had visited Chicago earlier in life, when I was in high school. I came and got a job because there weren't many jobs in Mississippi. And I met this man after I finished high school, and he had to go to Vietnam. So I went back south. And then I returned back when he got out of Vietnam. We came and we made Chicago our home. And so, Chicago was a very exciting time in the 60s for me and in the 70s. And there were a lot of activities. We were living in Lawndale. There were a lot of activities on the blocks. People were very friendly. They were very neighborly. They sat on their porches. And so, I really got into the culture.
I see. Well, tell us, what motivated you then to create the Westside Health Authority?
I had worked for several agencies on the West Side. I was very concerned about people, and I had seen the community continue to decline, even though there were a lot of programs. And, I had gone to school and got a degree from University of Illinois and then University of Chicago for my master's degree. But I was pretty frustrated with the way programs were run. It seemed to me as if, the programs were run so that the organizations could benefit. And oftentimes that meant that people were seen as cases, as data, as numbers, and the relationships that basically help people to move ahead, were not there. Organizations tried, and organizations, good people at these organizations, many of them, but when the money comes for a certain thing and the people in the community say, well, that's good, but what we really need is X, Y, and Z, it's very, very hard to take the money and spend it on what the people say. You have to do what the funder says. So in that sense, people were diminished. Their views and their ideas were not appreciated, and it didn't empower the people. So the Westside Health Authority was started without money. We started it without funding. We wanted to hear what the people said. And we would basically go with what the people said. For the first year, we had no funding, neither did we solicit funding. We depended upon the relationships that we would build on those blocks, that we would build with other organizations. And having worked in many organizations, I did know a number of people, and they respected me and liked me. So when I said we're going to have a meeting, they will come to the meeting, and we would also ask them to bring somebody off of some of the blocks that surrounded them. So we would have people come to the meeting. and people would often talk about things that they had heard the experts say. So it was sometimes difficult to get people to be themselves when they're in a room with, people who they think are organizational people, or, they have, people in organizations have a way they talk. And so, people would say what we need is more mentorship. So what we need is more jobs. The Westside Health Authority was started to give people a voice in shaping public policies and shaping the programs for the Westside. So many of the programs were being shaped by others outside the Westside, driven by university folks who spent 3 weeks in the community talking to a few people, but it wasn't shaped by the authentic voice of people in the community. And we felt that people needed to have an opportunity to have their voice heard, their words heard. And that's why I started the organization.
Excellent. Tell us, what were a few of the accomplishments that you achieved through the Westside Health Authority?
Oh, my goodness.
Just a few.
We started the Westside Health Authority with the hospital. Bethany Hospital was on the verge of closing. We mobilized people to stop that closing. And that meant that we had to, make sure the doctors stayed there at the hospital. We had to get people involved from the churches so that they would actually attend the hospital, because the census was down at the hospital. We got the pastors involved. And right after that, another hospital, which had closed, was up for sale. We wanted the community to buy that hospital rather than an outside investor. So we mobilized the people in the community to buy the hospital. The hospital was $2.5 million. And we were able to get the local churches to raise $80,000. And we got that matched. And then we knew that we had a good coalition, people who would fight for the rest of it. And so we were able to get somebody to come in and lease the space out for 2 years for $2 million. So we were able to get that owned by people in the community. If it's owned by people in the community, we can have a voice in saying what goes there. And we were able to get a Cook County, a public institution, to come in that space and rent that space so that we would continue to have good public health care right there in our community. And then after that, we did not want to be known as the people who just did hospitals. So we asked the people, what is it that they felt we needed to do to make the health better in the community? And they said, well, I don't know about health, but I am concerned about the gunshots behind my garage on Saturday nights. And well, what are we going to do about it? And somebody said, well, you can't do anything about gunshots unless you offer these kids some jobs, because so many of our kids don't have jobs, but they see TV with all the stuff that they trying to commercialize with our children, sell to our children. And someone said, well, you can give them a job, but if you're not teaching them morals and values, they'll steal from the job or they won't go to work. So we need to come together as people on the block to get the people to, help with each other's children. So if you see my child doing something wrong, then you need to help our children to stay straight, or call me and let me know what's going on with my child. And so, one-on-one, people said what they thought would help. And we put all of that together into a work plan. And we were able to get over 300 youth employment at the health centers, and hospitals where they learned health careers. And they worked in every corner of the hospitals. They worked in the gift shop. They worked in food service. They worked in hot patient care. They worked in taking books around to patients in the hospital. They were trained by Malcolm X College, who came to the schools. And, we had buses picking them up at the schools, taking them to the hospitals, where they actually served as interns in that training that Malcolm X was teaching them. But so it was about 300 kids, and all the kids' grades at the school also improved. And the city of Chicago paid for it through some youth program money that they had. So the kids were able to learn, be engaged with people in the community in a productive way that could lead to a future. And they were also able to get paid. Many of them had to help their moms pay the light bill, to pay the gas bill. So it was a real benefit for the community overall. And most of the kids, I don't know all, but most of the kids ended up actually getting scholarships. Walgreens gave scholarships for them to go into pharmacy technicians. And so, they were able to, some of them went into accounting, some of them went into LPN, nurses assistants, all of those kinds of jobs. So we were excited about that. Then people said that, well, we need to do something about businesses in the neighborhood. So we were able to begin to find the local businesses in the neighborhood and connect them with hospital contracts. So we were able to get the man who had a fish market to sell fish to Bethany Hospital on Fridays. This was the hospital we had stopped from closing. So they were anxious to work with us. We were able to get a little mom and pop paint company to go in Loretta Hospital and start off with the contract painting the kitchen. And they ended up doing a great job. So they ended up painting the whole hospital. We got the man who had MK cleaners to go in and meet with the procurement officer. He got a contract cleaning the drapes in the emergency rooms. And then he ends up cleaning the hospital floors. So, we basically generated about $3 million in new contracts for those businesses in the neighborhood. And but finally, people were saying that, we still need to do something about helping our children to understand the cultural values and norms that we have in our community. There's a lot of violence, and all you're seeing is on television is negative things about Black males and our families. And so, people on the blocks, we organized 60 blocks right around our building. And, somebody says it takes a village to raise a child, which is a very prominent saying at that time. So we said, if it takes a village to raise a child, what does it take to make a village? And so we said, if we take every block, and identify citizen leaders on that block and have them come together and organize on that block, they can help take care of each other's needs on that block. So that's what we did across 60 blocks. And we would have meetings once a month with the citizen leaders. And every meeting would have at least 2 citizen leaders, at least 2, sometimes 5, sometimes 6 from each block. And they got and built relationships with each other, trusting relationships with each other. They had potlucks. We started all kinds of rituals. They would have fall festivals and Thanksgiving potlucks and the things that people do to create a sense of community, coming together to celebrate one another, to celebrate somebody over someone's sweet potato pie, and talk about how good somebody made some dressing, some stuffing, and and to show off how they can dance on the play lot with the kids, the older people. And it was a lot of fun. They organized baseball teams from across those blocks. We must have had about 6 baseball teams, and they would play every Saturday. And we didn't have money, but the old men would take car mats out their cars, and they would be the bases. And the people would donate bats and balls, and and the old ladies would hold the children while the young girls who'd had babies far too young could go and play. And the kids would see their moms out there playing. And it would just be a wonderful time for the whole community. We would probably have around 200 people in that park on Saturdays, and nobody was paid. Everybody was enjoying themselves. It was relationship. As an organization, we didn't have to report to a funder how many people showed up and how many people played and how many people got sick. This was about community and community taking care of community.
Beautiful. So let me pause for a second, because you've done so much, and you've had the wonderful ability to draw so many people, including your family, into your business. So I wanted to just ask you one more question, because we're going to focus on the latest initiative, the Aspire Center. And I feel like everything that you and Morris and Kiwan and other people within the team at Westside Health Authority have done has been leading towards the Aspire Center. So can you give us your insights into why does the community need the Aspire Center? What is the vision behind it?
Well, out of all the work that we've done, the baseball teams and all of that, the health careers, this affected individual people, and it made a difference in their lives. But I have found that when you build a building, when you create a space, It is not something just for those few people. It is something for the whole community. Our community needs to be inspired. They need to be able to see something. Our young people need to be able to see something. The stories that I told you are old. They are 10, 15 years old, 15, 20 years old. But now these children who have grown up do not know about the baseball teams. And so the Aspire Center will provide an opportunity to leave a legacy, to let them know and see what's possible that they themselves can do. We are Black just like them. We live in the community just like them. We are out here working without money, but we are hoping. We have hope, and we believe, and we try, and we just keep walking by faith. And that's what it takes in our community. We have to come together. We basically ask everybody to help. And we have a legacy of asking everybody to help. When we had our neighborhood village, we asked people to help us to build a wellness center. And they raised the first $60,000. The wellness center would cost $4.5 million. But they raised the first $60,000 selling catfish dinners. And that wellness center is there right now. And that wellness center is a source of pride for the community. If people go in there and they don't feel like they are being treated right in that building that we own, it's rented out to county and to other service providers, they will call us and they will say, we're not treated right at that building. You need to do something about that. If they find it's too cold there, they call us. They don't put graffiti on the walls when George Floyd died in that building because it's theirs. So owning and developing your own assets in the community is important, notwithstanding the vision. The vision for that building is very important because the vision is one that talks about training our youth to be high-tech manufacturers, to work in the industries that are up and coming, not on dead-end jobs, having restaurants and having a bank, being able to access things right in your own neighborhood, creating jobs right in your own neighborhoods, and it's done by us, for us.
Beautiful, that's great. Now we're going to transition to Morris Reed. I want to thank you so much, Mrs. Reed, for your insights and your help here. It's very inspirational. Our second guest is Morris Reed, President and CEO of Westside Health Authority, a community-based organization on the Austin community of Chicago. Through his experience as a licensed attorney and in business administration, Morris's leadership has developed more than 20 residential properties and 11 commercial properties for more than $20 million, including the Austin Wellness Center. Welcome, Morris, and tell us a little bit of your story. How did you decide to get involved in building community engagement in Chicago's West Side?
Well, I'm a son of a mother who dedicated her whole life to community service, dedicated her whole life to family, and dedicated her whole life to church. And so it was how I was raised to just do good, that it's not about you, it's about the community. It's what God put in you to contribute back to your community so we can all live a better life. And when I first started at Westside Health Authority, it was as an intern, working with young people in the neighborhood, looking at how we could be more engaged, how we could be advocates, how we can find things to really be more of a part of the neighborhood and build relationships with everyone and not just with the peers and just with the people that they see. So this really excited me. And so I continued to follow what the Westside Health Authority was doing while I attended law school. And while I attended law school, we were engaged in doing one of our first development projects. And this was part of a community development activity initiative called the Austin Wellness Center. And this was so important because community development seeks to not replace people and not replace assets in the neighborhood, but to develop them, to improve them, to how we use them to help others live a better life. And so that really intrigued me. And so I felt that I could really contribute back in doing those sorts of things. And with my legal experience and education, I was able to help people with the Westside Health Authority and carry it further. So I was really proud to do that.
Thank you. Well, you've come up with this vision for the Aspire Center. Can you tell us first, what is the Aspire Center and what's your vision behind it?
So the Aspire Center is part of a community effort called the Aspire Initiative. And the Aspire Initiative is how regular, ordinary people and existing organizations can come together to aspire for a better neighborhood. One of the things that we always see that maybe outside people don't see, or people that are not like us see, is that some real quality in what is existing now. And all we need is a little help to, if we improved it, if we renovated it and controlled it and used it wisely, we could live and have a better neighborhood and a better place to raise our children. So the Aspire Initiative was kind of born out of that theme. The school itself, where the center is repurposing, is a former school. It sits on 3 acres of land. At its heyday, it served 3,500 kids. But back in 2012 and 2013, under the then Mayor Rahm Emanuel's administration, they looked at buildings like this and said they were being underutilized. And it was being underutilized not because the need wasn't there, but the quality wasn't there. And this is something that we tried to express to the city and then Mayor Rahm, that we just need an opportunity to improve the quality of the school because the need was there and the school could still address the need. However, politics, policy decisions, the schools were closed among 50 other schools in the city of Chicago, leaving the building vacant, dormant, and abandoned. And so the neighborhood then saw it as an opportunity for us to take control of that site and plan around it and redevelop it, because everybody said to me, and this was something that really stuck to me, they said the building had good bones, Morris. It has good bones. Let's not tear it down. We have real attachment to this building because this is where I grew up. This is where I was educated. I have good memories, and I want to be able to bring that forward to the next generation of young people. So it couldn't operate as a school, but we said that those aspirations that we had as young people, we want to bring that to these same kind of young people. So let's name it the Aspire Center. And so the Aspire Center development began. We got community partners like Austin Coming Together involved. We got JARC, which is a advanced manufacturing training organization involved. We got Manufacturing Renaissance that does a lot of mentoring, preparing high school students to enter into a career of engineering, enter into manufacturing, enter into management, and how do we get them more involved in those careers. We also have a technology program that we want to really be innovative in what we do there. We want a space created by community people where they feel comfortable there, where they can kind of let their ideas flow, their creativity flow, and really figure out how to develop to the next step. And so this is why we're doing in the Aspire Center, and this is kind of how it was formed.
No, I love that. So you were mentioning a place where youth can get trained in technical skills. There's also other industries that are going to be inside this.
Yeah, so absolutely. So the first phase of the project will include advanced manufacturing and career development for high school students who are looking to be engineers or to be business managers or operational managers at these advanced, technical types of manufacturing, today's types of manufacturing, how we produce products. And so we're also going to bring some financial services from a banking partner. We're also going to bring some job placement and some job readiness and job training during the first phase. We really want this to be a place where we have a lot of good quality people, a lot of people with a lot of skills, but they don't know how to get to the next step. And so when they feel lost and disengaged and hopeless, we want them to come to the Aspire Center to be inspired and to connect with some training, to connect with some mentorship, to connect with someone who cares and who can kind of help them get on the right track and get on another level.
That's beautiful. So you're inspiring people and helping them in their aspirations, inspiring and aspiring for a better future. Why do you feel the community needs this?
So there's been a lot of disinvestment on the West Side for the past 20 years. You know, being a child that was born of this generation of not migrants, but a generation of people who lived in the South, former children of slaves, who then migrated north to Chicago for better opportunities. They had some opportunities back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s that people just don't have today. Times have changed, times have evolved. And so we have to rethink how we engage a younger generation to provide opportunities to them. And so over the last 20 years, there's been no investment in creating those types of opportunities for our young people. And then typically they get involved in gangs, they get involved in just crime and different poor decisions, which only ruin their lifestyle, but also ruin the fabric of the neighborhood and ruin the hope of the neighborhood of ever improving. So the Aspire Center is really trying to change the way things have been for the last 20 years, do more investments into these good bones. Like I said, the good bones of the neighborhood need some help. They need to be uplifted. And so we want to invest in this building, like I said, which is about 80,000 square feet of space. It's a massive building. And rather than just tear it down and just be another development project like you may see downtown with a new modern building, but how do we refresh, renew some of the hope that communities had 30, 40 years ago to bring it to the young people today to say, listen, you can have hope again. I hate to say we want to use the term, make it great again, but yes, we can make it great again. And we think the Aspire Center can offer people that hope to be great once again.
That's beautiful. In fact, I heard that you're also planning to have businesses take over it, part of that space as well. Can you just add?
Absolutely. So we want to first build the building to provide a space for ordinary people to first come. But because it sits on 3 acres of land, we do see opportunities to attract more of a business element. There's a lot of people who want to do new businesses, but there's a lot of businesses that people use that don't exist within a neighborhood. People may go to Oak Park or downtown, they're taking those dollars with them out of the neighborhood, but how do we bring those businesses that people utilize closer to them, where they don't have to travel 10 miles to go to a business, where and then when it's in your neighborhood, you have a different outlook and a different expectation, and you feel better because you say, I live where the Aspire Center lives. I live where this great business lives. People come to my neighborhood, and that's a reflection that becomes a better reflection on themselves because they say they live in a place where people want to come to. And that's the whole vision of the Westside Health Authority. We want people to feel better about themselves and let people know their worth, let them know their value. And there are very valuable people here on the west side of Chicago.
That's beautiful. So you're really transforming the community, making it into a place not only for technical training skills, but for businesses. And even I heard there was a job incubator or an entrepreneurial incubator space that you've envisioned. Tell us a little bit about that.
So on the second and third floors of the building, these, if you could kind of imagine the older classrooms, beautiful big spaces where these classrooms exist, maybe about 800 square feet per classroom. That we want to be able to offer to businesses similar to like the Merchandise Mart downtown Chicago, but this is going to be a community merchandise mart where businesses can promote their ideas and concepts for a new business idea before they go to their own separate brick and mortar. And it would attract different people to see the new ideas, what may be coming in Austin, what may be coming to the city of Chicago as a business, and would also attract businesses to come and have a trial of their programs and even develop, kind of work out the kinks that some of them may have. And that's how we want to use those classrooms in a big open space. The big corridors offer that big industrial, but also, innovative space to really look and create and to explore.
That's
so we'll
beautiful.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're really making it possible for people to have a new start in their life. So tell us, what would be the funding needs that you would need to have in order to bring this vision to life?
So the entire Aspire initiative, we're looking at to raise between the private and public support about $130 million, but this is over a 10-year period. The Aspire Center itself, during its first phase, will need $35 million approximately, and those dollars will go to support the build out, improvement of the site, construction of a new facade to bring in a new modern look to an older building, which is fantastic, but also to create more marketing, promotion, and to really liven the site up. You know, right now we're dealing with a lot of decay, a lot of older, depreciated equipment and assets, and we really need to bring it all up to speed and modernize the whole building. And so about 35 million will get us started. And over the course of 10 years, we see how we will attract the rest of the investment as well.
That's very important. Let's let everyone know, where can they go to learn more, as well as be able to support your cause?
If people want to know more about the Aspire initiative and the Aspire Center, they can go to our website, the specific website, which is www.whaspire.org or .com. And they could also go to Westside Health Authority's website, which is www.healthauthority.org.
Thank you. Well, this was really an enlightening time, Morris, and I would like to ask you if there's one parting thought that you would like to leave with our audience. What do you think is the most important thing for people to know about making a positive difference in their community and beyond?
Well, it's the thing I learned when I grew up and I first started here at Westside Health Authority. You know, we had job descriptions and job duties, but one thing that everybody can do is good. And where to do it, everywhere you can do it, when to do it, every time you get an opportunity to do it. So do what you can to do good. And you know, good comes from your heart. And so when you're out there and you're engaging with people and building relationships, your heart will tell you this is opportunity for you to do good. And when you have an opportunity to do something good, just do it. It's what you really want to do, and it's what God wants you to do, and it's what you was intended for. We're all here to do some good in this world, so do good.
Thank you so much, Morris. This has been a wonderful time with you and Mrs. Reed, and I'm so grateful. And I recommend everyone highly go to take a look at the Aspire Center and look at this initiative that's going to be transforming lives. It can be a model for you as well as you work on your own community and grow the potential of people to make a bigger difference. Thank you so much, and all the best to you. Keep up the good work. Thank you again.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.